Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am answering a request from a friend of mine. Now, there actually is a little bit of a story here. I was talking to him one day, and he asked if I would ever do tonight's film. I told him only if I can find a BitTorrent file of it. I found the BitTorrent file. I then said, okay, I will do it if the damn thing actually downloads completely. Took a couple of days, but the fucker downloaded. So now I'm kind of stuck here. Tonight's film was released in 1985. It was released by Warner Brothers, and it was produced by an animation studio in the U.S. known as Deke, a company that is known for putting out some really cheesy and really cheap-looking shows. And it was also produced by the Hallmark Greeting Card Company. Yeah, folks, it's one of those kinds of shows. However, though, this actually is not really a shocker because this is, of course, a movie from the 80s, and there were a whole lot of television shows out there which actually had a really stupid ass product tie-in, be it toys or greeting cards or dolls or whatever, and almost all of them got movies. And while some of them were really good, such as G.I. Joe and Transformers, and if you want to really stretch it, the 3-episode Thundercats pilot, again, like I said, stretching on that one. Certain ones have fallen into complete and total obscurity, and this one is probably only known by the rather niche audience that actually remembers the franchise fondly from the 80s. Tonight's film is called Rainbow Brite and the Star Stealer, and to be totally honest with you folks, that is all I fucking know about it. I know that it's from 1985, I know that it's a tie-in to the Rainbow Brite animated series, and I know the title. That's it. I am going into this one even friggin' more blind than I do with most other films. So I really have nothing else to say here, and I really don't want to take up a whole lot of time with the intro, because if this film is even half as bad as I fear it's going to be, we are going to be in for a rather long review. However, stranger things have happened. I might actually enjoy this thing. So without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Rainbow Brite and the Star Stealer. I'm going to say this right now, guys. This villain is ridiculously irritating. This is not a good sign. My God, this has got to be one of the sappiest songs I have ever heard. This right here, folks, is the sort of song that could probably give a listener die of fucking beaties, man. This is just good God. So, let me see if I understand this. Every year, Rainbow Brite flies to Earth like fucking Santa Claus and delivers spring to the world. I'm sorry, that just sounds a little stupid to me. So the main plot is that Rainbow Brite's not able to bring spring to Earth. Oh boy. And there's about another hour and 10 minutes left. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to make it. Okay, you know what, guys? I'm going to say this right now. This film's got a really god-awful premise and a really stupid plot. But I do have to give them credit for actually being willing to say the word die. That was actually kind of sort of a luxury back in the 80s when it came to animated movies. So there is at least that. Folks, this film had better start making a little bit of fucking sense, and this story had better start going somewhere, because it's actually getting a little bit dull. You know, folks, I really would just like to say this right now. Even when this film is trying to boost up the action a little bit, it's still boring as shit, man. So now this guy's been given a device that can do anything, which makes him just as much of a boring hero as Rainbow Brite is. Oh, fun. Alright, folks. This film's over. And you know what? I actually am kind of happy. Well, you guys are probably, you guys were probably watching all of my various reactions, and you're probably thinking I'm going to completely rip this film to pieces, but it's actually a little bit difficult too, because, well, first of all, I cannot just dive into it and go, it sucks, and I just start ripping it apart, because it's a film intended for children. Okay? That is the one thing you must know going into this thing, is this is not a family film, and there's nothing here for anyone who's maybe over the age of 12. This is strictly for children. So, frankly, almost any argument that I am bound to bring up here is going to have absolutely no bearing, because kids aren't going to care about any of that. So, basically what I'm going to say before I get into the actual review is, if you have, like, a younger brother, a younger sister, a niece, a nephew, a son, a daughter, or perhaps maybe if you're, old enough, and I would be a little bit surprised if there are people who are this old watching me who might have, like, grandchildren, you could probably let them watch it, and there'd be no problems, because they would probably absolutely adore it until they get to around the age of, like, 10. Then they actually might start to notice a little bit of the issues with the film, and then by the time that they're 12, they are never going to want to watch it again. So I am going to say that right now. If you happen to have a child in your life in some way, you can probably try to find a copy of this thing on DVD, and it will be something that will keep them entertained for an hour and 20 minutes. It really is nothing special beyond that. Now, what if you happen to have a child and you let them watch it, and you decide to watch it with them? That's when you yourself are going to notice a lot of the problems which crop up in this film. First of all, the acting. The acting is a huge mixed bag here, because we actually have a handful of actors who are actually doing a fairly decent job. And then there's the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast sucks ass. I really cannot put it in any other way. The friggin' acting is awful. But once more, kids are probably not going to notice this, so that's why it'll be fine for them. Okay, now when it comes to the animation is some really top-notch stuff, and that can partially be attributed to the fact that this film came out around the time that the U.S. was outsourcing a whole lot of its animation to Japan, because it was a hell of a lot cheaper then. And if you went to certain Japanese studios, you would get some really high-end stuff. And while this thing is not the best I've seen from 1980s outsourced animation, it is still at least decent. There actually are a couple of hitches when it comes to the animation, but ultimately it's really nothing that's going to completely destroy the film if you are looking at it from a purely technical standpoint. The music, again, to me, I just found that music to be just grating and annoying. The writing, oh boy. Okay, folks, once more, kids honestly are going to love it. I really just cannot stress that enough. However, if you are a little bit older and you actually care about a plot and a story, you are going to absolutely despise this thing, because it has no plot. It has no real story that would actually be worthy of an hour and 20 minutes. It has a story that would have made for an interesting half-hour episode of the Rainbow Brite series, or perhaps maybe a two-parter. But there's no way in hell that they should have tried to stretch it for an hour and 24 minutes. It just shouldn't happen. Good God, let me think. Oh, well, I should mention that, and this is something which just sort of bugged me, is that this whole film is based around Rainbow Brite trying to save a planet whose sole purpose is to bring light to Earth, which means that in the Rainbow Brite universe, the sun does not exist. And if the sun does happen to exist, it has to bounce off of this diamond planet before it comes to Earth. It's something that was really bugging me. It really bothered me because it was such a stupid plot. Oh my God. And when it comes to all of the new characters who were brought in, which were the princess, who was the new main villain, she was fucking irritating as hell. And I'm gonna say right now, she has probably she probably has hair that could not scream 80s any louder if it tried. We then have Chris, who is a ridiculously irritating male version of Rainbow Brite. We have fucking Onyx, who basically is a robotic horse who stutters worse than I do. I mean, it's just there really wasn't a lot there, and the only reason why I can assume that these are new characters is because they were the only ones who were given any sort of an actual introduction to this, which means that the only way to actually know anything about any of the characters would be if you knew a little bit of the backstory, which means you would have to have watched the Rainbow Brite series, and I flat out refuse to waste my time with that. Oh boy, honestly folks, I don't know what to tell you. This movie, at least to me, was a horrible chore to watch. And I can only recommend it once more if you have children nearby. That is the only reason I think you should ever have to sit through this, is if there is a child next to you who wants to watch it, or if there's a kid who's bored and you want to give them something to kill an hour and 20 minutes. Now, I'm going to break my protocol a little bit here, because usually, folks, I only grant shout-outs to people who bought something off of the Amazon wish list. And this, as I stated at the start of the episode, was not purchased. I had to download this one. However, the reason why is because, well, first of all, it was a friend who actually requested it. He was the only one who requested it, and he recently had to open a new YouTube channel because his old one got fucking shut down on him. So this honestly is not going to be happening too often, but I am going to do this. This episode was freaking requested by a friend of mine. His name is David, and believe it or not, guys, it is not the same David who has sent me such interesting things over the past couple of years. No, this actually is a different David, and his YouTube channel is called The Game Boob Show. Actually, wait, I'm just going to double check on that. I just want to make sure I'm giving you guys the actual name. Yes, it actually is The Game Boob Show, and I am going to put a link to his channel in this video's description. I'm going to tell you guys, I really would like you to go and check out his stuff. He is a very talented person. He is ridiculously funny, and a whole lot of his stuff puts a whole lot of what I do to shame. So I really would like you guys to go over there, check him out, say hi and sub to him, and do whatever in the hell else you would like to do there, including thanking him for having me watch this. And if you actually thought that this episode sucked, you can blame him. So so folks, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.